The MLB trade deadline is rapidly approaching, and one name has completely taken over the baseball world: Tarik Skubal. Every contender looking to strengthen its rotation is closely monitoring the Detroit Tigers, wondering whether their Cy Young caliber ace could actually become available. For weeks, trade rumors have continued to grow louder, and now several insiders believe the next few days could determine one of the biggest moves of the season. If Detroit decides to listen to offers, the race for Skubal could become one of the most competitive bidding wars MLB has seen in years. Before we dive into all the latest trade rumors and what they could mean for the Dodgers, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Baseball Pulse, and turn on notifications so you never miss the biggest MLB news, breaking stories, and trade deadline updates. Now let's get into why Tarik Skubal has suddenly become the hottest name on the market. Detroit still has a chance to compete this season, but the front office also understands that every decision must balance the present with the future. As the playoff race tightens, the Tigers must determine whether they have enough to make a legitimate postseason run, or whether this is the right time to maximize the value of one of the best pitchers in baseball. Because Skubal is under team control and continues to perform at an elite level, any trade would require an enormous return. That is exactly why so many contenders are paying close attention. According to multiple reports, several playoff teams have expressed interest in Skubal, including the Los Angeles Dodgers, Chicago Cubs, Philadelphia Phillies, New York Yankees, Atlanta Braves, Milwaukee Brewers, and Tampa Bay Rays. Every one of those clubs understands that elite starting pitching often determines who survives October. Adding a true ace before the postseason can completely change a team's championship chances. Among all those teams, however, the Dodgers continue to attract the most attention. Los Angeles is almost always connected to superstar players whenever they become available. The reason is simple. The Dodgers possess one of baseball's deepest farm systems, financial flexibility, and an organization committed to competing for the World Series every single season. Whenever an impact player hits the market, executives around the league naturally expect the Dodgers to be involved, but acquiring Tarik Skubal would come at a massive cost. Detroit has absolutely no reason to trade its ace unless it receives premium young talent in return. This would not be a deal centered around aging veterans or depth pieces. Instead, the Tigers would likely demand top prospects along with players who can immediately contribute at the major league level. That reality creates an interesting challenge for the Dodgers. General manager Brandon Gomes must carefully evaluate which players are truly untouchable and which ones could become part of negotiations. Every championship contender eventually reaches a point where difficult decisions have to be made. Winning another World Series sometimes requires sacrificing valuable players to acquire someone capable of transforming an entire rotation. Several current Dodgers have already been mentioned by analysts as possible trade pieces. One player frequently discussed is Kike Hernandez. The veteran has remained an important clubhouse leader throughout his time in Los Angeles, but injuries have limited his consistency. While his defensive versatility remains valuable, the Dodgers must also think about their long-term roster construction. If Detroit requested Hernandez as part of a larger package, Los Angeles would have to seriously consider the possibility. Another interesting name is Miguel Rojas. Few players defend the infield better than Rojas. His instincts, positioning, leadership, and reliability continue to make him one of the Dodgers' most dependable defenders. However, modern baseball places enormous importance on offensive production. While Rojas provides excellent defense, his offensive numbers have not consistently matched the level expected from a championship-caliber lineup. If the Dodgers believe they can replace that production internally, he could become another player discussed during negotiations. Then there is Teoscar Hernandez, whose situation is perhaps the most complicated of all. Few hitters possess Teoscar's raw power. He can completely change the outcome of a game with one swing of the bat, making him an extremely dangerous middle-of-the-order hitter. At the same time, the Dodgers must balance offensive production with defensive consistency, roster flexibility, and long-term payroll considerations. Trading a player of Teoscar's caliber would never be an easy decision, but when pursuing an ace like Tarik Skubal, every possibility has to be evaluated. Still, the biggest question remains the same. Do the Dodgers actually need Tarik Skubal? At first glance, the answer isn't completely obvious. When healthy, Los Angeles already features one of baseball's strongest rotations. Yoshinobu Yamamoto continues to establish himself as one of the National League's premier starters. Tyler Glasnow is working toward returning from injury, while Blake Snell is also expected to strengthen the rotation once fully healthy. And then there is Shohei Ohtani. Although Ohtani continues contributing as one of baseball's most dangerous hitters, his return to pitching remains uncertain. The Dodgers have taken an extremely cautious approach with his recovery, choosing long-term health over short-term risk. Every update surrounding Ohtani's throwing program has become one of the biggest stories leading into the trade deadline because his progress could directly influence the Dodgers' strategy. If the organization believes Ohtani will return as a fully effective starting pitcher before October, they may feel less pressure to pursue another ace. But if uncertainty continues surrounding his recovery, everything changes. That is exactly why Tarik Skubal's name continues appearing in connection with Los Angeles. The Dodgers have never hidden their championship ambitions. Every season their goal is simple: win the World Series. Regular season success is important, but the front office builds its roster with October in mind. In the postseason, elite starting pitching often becomes the difference between celebrating a championship and going home early. One dominant ace can completely change an entire playoff series, which explains why Skubal's name has generated so much attention. If you enjoyed this update, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to Baseball Pulse, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest MLB trade news, Dodgers updates, and breaking baseball stories. Also, let us know in the comments, should the Dodgers go all in to trade for Tarik Skubal, or should they trust Shohei Ohtani and their current rotation? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.